Darkness clung to the Victorian mansion like a shroud, wrapping it in an eerie stillness that seemed almost palpable. Moonlight, fractured by grimy windows, cast a ghostly glow inside, illuminating the room with an unsettling, ethereal light. The light painted elongated shadows on the dusty floorboards, creating a dance of darkness and light that seemed almost alive. Sarah, perched on the edge of a velvet chaise longue, shivered. Her eyes darted around the room, searching for the source of her unease. A low groan echoed from the depths of the house, a sound that seemed to come from the very walls themselves. The sound settled in the silence like a stone in water, sending ripples of fear through Sarah. Her breath hitched, her heart pounding in her chest. She told herself it was the wind, the old house settling. But deep down, she knew it was something more, something she couldn't explain. Her phone buzzed, a stark contrast to the oppressive quiet. The sudden noise made her jump, her nerves already frayed. "You shouldn't be here," the message read, unsigned, unknown. Sarah's pulse quickened, her mind racing with questions and fears. The hairs on the back of her neck prickled. She could feel the cold air brushing against her skin, sending shivers down her spine. She spun around, searching the shadows. Her eyes darted from corner to corner, trying to pierce the darkness that enveloped the room. "Hello?" Her voice wavered, a tremor in the stillness. The silence was deafening, amplifying her fear. Silence, just the incessant ticking of the grandfather clock in the hall. Each tick seemed louder than the last, echoing through the empty house. She tried to reason with herself. A prank? But who would know she was here? Her mind raced, trying to make sense of the situation. She was house-sitting for her aunt, a last-minute arrangement. The house was old, filled with creaks and groans that seemed to come alive at night. Another buzz. She glanced at her phone. A message flashed on the screen. "They're watching you." Her heart pounded in her chest. Sarah's blood ran cold. She jumped to her feet, the phone slipping from her grasp and clattering onto the floor. Panic surged through her as she realized she was not alone. The grandfather clock chimed midnight, its sound echoing through the empty halls, a haunting reminder of the passage of time. Each clang resonating through the house like a death knell, sending shivers down the spine of anyone who dared to listen. The shadows seemed to lengthen, twisting into grotesque shapes that danced on the walls, creating a nightmarish scene. A sudden gust of wind rattled the windows, the sound like a distant scream, as if the house itself was alive and in pain. The sound like fingernails scraping against glass, a chilling noise that made Sarah's skin crawl. Sarah backed away, her heart pounding in her chest, each beat echoing in her ears like a drum. She fumbled for her phone, her hands trembling so much that she almost dropped it. The screen illuminating a figure standing at the edge of the light, its presence sending a wave of terror through her. Tall, gaunt, its face shrouded in darkness, the figure seemed to absorb the light around it, making the room feel even colder. "Who's there?" she choked out, her voice barely a whisper, the words catching in her throat. The figure moved closer, its features still obscured, its presence growing more menacing with each step. Terror, raw and consuming, seized Sarah. She stumbled back, tripping over the rug, her phone flying from her hand. The screen went dark, plunging her into absolute blackness. A cold hand clamped over her mouth, stifling her desperate scream. "You didn't listen," a raspy voice whispered in her ear. "Now it's too late." Then silence. Utter, terrifying silence. But as the unseen presence tightened its grip, the phone screen flickered back to life, illuminating a final message. "Wrong house.